Man, at first glance, you say, Golden State just stole Jimmy Buckets, playoff Jimmy. All they had to give up was Andrew Wiggins? Seriously? And then you look a little harder and you look a little closer and you step back from it and you see the forest for the trees, and the trees are getting really old in Golden State, which now looks like Olden State to me. Golden State is Olden State, on fumes, last hurrah, desperate. Steph is about to turn 37 years of age. LeBron James at 40 is playing at a considerably higher level to me than Steph is at almost 37. Draymond is almost 35 and he's averaging 8 points and 6 rebounds and 5 assists, and he just looks old to me. Jimmy Butler of late has just looked old to me. I'm sorry. I think Jimmy Buckets, playoff Jimmy, is a thing of the past. He's almost 35. He plays 35. I just don't see giving Jimmy Butler. Golden State turned right around and tore up his deal and gave him 2 more years at $121 million, a little over $60 a year for 2 more years for Jimmy Butler. Are you kidding? I think he has become more trouble than he's worth. And I'm going to give you this. Steph is one of the great leaders ever. I'm going to give you this. Steve Kerr is one of the great leader coaches ever. A player's coach. He's got cachet. He's got Olympic cachet. He's got ring cachet. He's got some Phil Jackson cachet. So maybe he'll be able to sort of ride herd on Jimmy Butler, who might be the toughest player to coach in all of basketball. Eric Spoelstra did a masterful job, a brilliant job with Jimmy as long as he could last. But he's got a shelf life. He's going to blow it up. You know it and I know it. And I felt for Pat Riley. I'm a big fan. I got to know Pat way back when he was a young Lakers coach. He just had no choice. He just had to get rid of him. And you can say he sort of gave him away. But he did get an Andrew Wiggins who's averaged 19, 5, and 2 for his career. He's had 3 years of averaging over 20. He did make that all-star team back in 22. I've always said Andrew Wiggins is a pretty good player who on any given night can be very good. Playoff tested, playoff tough. You can count on him. He'll make big shots. Doesn't mind taking big shots. Is he playoff Jimmy? No, but listen, playoff Jimmy wasn't really playoff Jimmy when it mattered the most. I've made this point over and over, and I'm not hyper criticizing Jimmy Butler here, but if you look hard, like the playoff runs, the last one when they played Denver in the finals, that first round against Milwaukee, I don't know if I've ever seen anything quite like that in a playoff series. He alone obliterated Giannis and company. He averaged 38, 6, and 5. He shot 60% in this is the first round. So they just wiped out Milwaukee. First round, he's used 60% from the floor and 44% from threes. He's not a very good three-point shooter, never has been. Doesn't really take that many, and he was out of his mind. And he stayed out of his mind for the next 2 series until they got to Denver in the finals. They lost in 5 games. Go back and look at the numbers. They weren't very good. He went back to shooting. He went from 60 against Milwaukee from the floor down to 41%, down to 37%. Didn't take that many threes. Closeout game, he just sort of disappears. You can't trust him from night to night emotionally. And I've talked to a lot of people about Jimmy. In fact, I talked to a longtime NBA source of mine just the other day on another topic, and somehow we got off on the subject. He had spoken to Jimmy recently, and he laughed. This longtime source of mine did, and said he knows he's really connected. And he just said, Jimmy's crazy. And he is. He can be really good. He can be playoff good until the finals. Remember the finals in the bubble after he was on crazy fire until they got to the Lakers? Remember the Game 6, the closeout game in the bubble against LeBron and AD and company. And in that final game, it was just a quiet game. It was I'd pick Miami. I like Jimmy. I like playoff Jimmy. I just couldn't find him in either of those two finals. Not consistently playoff Jimmy. Not rise above it all, take it over Jimmy. Closeout game in the bubble against the Lakers. He had 12 points and 7 rebounds and 8 assists, but he only took 10 shots. And I'm like, just do something. Go for it. Be you. Where's playoff Jimmy? I don't know. Didn't feel like it that night. He can be very moody, very difficult, very distant, very crazy. Okay? So do I give Steph and Steve a chance to sort of keep him in the fold? Yeah, I do. Draymond. I'm not a big Draymond fan, but can he maybe be a little bit of a leader for Jimmy? Maybe they have enough veteran mental toughness to sort of keep Jimmy in check within their culture that they've created. Okay, I can sort of give you that. But there's an old theory. I go way back covering the National Basketball Association I started covering the Lakers out here in LA. 76, 77, pre-Magic. There's this old theory that used to bounce around the NBA, and it was the two-knucklehead theory. And it's, you could have one knucklehead on a basketball team. Obviously, only 5 can play, and you got 12 total. But you can have one knucklehead in the group, and you can get away with one, but not 2. If you got 2 knuckleheads on a team, look out. They got 2 knuckleheads now. Jimmy can be a knucklehead. Jimmy can just be a little crazy. He's way out there, man. You just don't know from night to night. And Draymond's a different crazy. He's just simply the dirtiest player in the history of basketball. I dare you to tell me I'm wrong. I dare you to show me different. I can show you montages of cheap shot, dirty play after play after play where you're just saying that guy's got a screw loose. I know he feels like he's got to be an enforcer for a finesse team. I give you that. He's been guts and glue for that team through championship runs. I got it. But in the end, he's the dirtiest player ever, and it ain't even close. Nobody has had the montage, the parade of low blow, dirty plays, flying punch plays, crotch shot plays that Draymond has. Okay, so if you put Jimmy and Draymond together, volatility, because you're back to the two-knucklehead theory. So they have Kuminga, they added Buddy Hield. Okay, Moses Moody has his moments and his flashes, but I tweeted about this. I really like Dennis Schroeder. I just believe in him. He is clutch as they come. He was clutch for the Lakers. He saved LeBron a few times. You could trust him to take and make big shots and make big plays down the stretch of games. And I liked him for Golden State. And he was just starting to find his groove. And all of a sudden, it's a 5-team deal. And he winds up in Utah. Schroeder's in Utah. What? Okay. And then Pat Riley. Did he just give away Jimmy Butler because he was forced to at the trade deadline? Okay. He did get back a very good player in Andrew Wiggins who will fit perfectly within the Heat culture. He's a good guy. He'll play hard. He'll fit right in. Kyle Anderson will fit right in because he's fit right in wherever he's been. And I used to be a big fan of his when he was a Spur, and now he's been all over God's creation playing basketball because he knows how to play basketball. He'll fit in the Heat culture. You can get 10 minutes out of him a night, and he'll play the right way and do the right thing, slow-mo as they call him. He operates at his own speed, but help a little bit. Do I think that the Heat got better? I don't. I don't. I don't see them contending. Pat got stuck. Jimmy went south. Jimmy sort of went AWOL on them, and they had no choice. So they did the best they could, and this is probably the best you could ask for under the circumstance of we're stuck and we got to get rid of him. At least you got back and you got a first-round pick back. Okay. Under the circumstance, the dire straight circumstance of we got to get this guy out of here and out of our hair, they did pretty well. Which brings me back to Mike Dunleavy Jr. and what he did. They clearly wanted Kevin Durant. I don't blame him. Reunite, bring him home. One last hurrah with Kevin. Well, obviously that was plan A. Plan B was Jimmy Butler. They shot the moon with Kevin. He did not want to go back again and start it over again. Nope, he didn't feel that way. And I think he still has some mixed emotion that Steph was still seen as the man in Golden State when it was clearly Kevin. Without Kevin, they don't win. Steph had no shot against LeBron. What was coming? That's why Steph led that entourage of Golden State, not only players, but executives, coaches. They flew all the way to the end of Long Island, day before July the 4th, to get down on bended knee and say, Kevin, you got to come save us. We can't beat LeBron without you. And did he ever? Yep. He joined forces with that 73-win team that had blown it to LeBron and Kyrie, and they would have blown it again and again and again because Kevin in the finals is way better than Steph has ever thought about being in the finals. So I don't blame him. They're going back blast from past because Kevin, all he did, I admire him so much for this. I know people said, oh, yeah, you joined forces with Steph and Clay and Draymond. Yeah. And guess who took over the finals the next 2 years? Guess who was the finals MVP the next 2 years? Guess who was the nuclear weapon in Golden State? Who took over for Steph, who in too many big finals games wasn't Steph. He was just stuff. He was Steph Curry, as in just a bunch of stuff, just a bunch of missed shots. He missed so many big shots. He had so many off games, and people give him a break because he's such a great guy, but that was all Kevin in those two finals. So he did what he did what he needed to do, and he doesn't want to go back there again. Not that he hates Steph, but he just hated the fact that Dub Nation loved beloved Steph because he was beloved way beyond what Kevin could ever be. And Kevin doesn't want to go back and experience that again as Steph's career winds down. He doesn't want to go play second or God knows third fiddle there, but second definitely. He was third fiddle because Clay was so beloved. So they went for Jimmy Butler. And again, you can say they stole him for just basically Andrew Wiggins, but then they undid the steal because he stole from them. They gave Jimmy Butler 2 more years at $60+ million. That's insane to me because he will not give him bang for bucks. He won't give him that kind of bang for bucks. I don't know. This just feels like a desperate move by Golden State. It feels Olden State. It feels like they're all on fumes. It feels like one last desperate hurrah. And for Steph's sake, I hope I'm wrong about this, but I can see them creeping into the back end of the playoffs, and they'll be gone in the first round. Sorry you had to go through that, Pat. The guy is just more trouble than he's worth.